Wow. Okay. Okay, sport mode. I see you. Sport mode. I see you. I like you. All right, everybody, what is up? What is up? As always, thanks for stopping by to another video today. And as you can see already behind me here, we've got the Harley Sportster S. We're out here at Brandywine Harley Davidson, out up near Chad's Ford, PA, hanging out with my guy Dan out here at Brandywine. We're gonna be hopping on the Sportster S today, and I'm pretty excited about this. This is gonna be my first time testing out the new Revolution Max engine. I've been wanting to get on the Sportster S. I've been wanting to get on the Pan America. Definitely want to try out the Nitzer sometime soon, but we're starting with the Nitzer S today. We're going to hop on there, take it for a ride, get my thoughts, get my opinions, and see how some of my thoughts and opinions compare to some of the people who've already been on this bike. Obviously, it's been out for almost maybe a year now, so I'm going to see what I personally think about this bike. So like I said, we're out here at Brandywine Harley. Got a little look at their service department. As always, huge shout out to them and Dan for letting me hop on a bike here. I've been trying to get on this Sportster S forever, and it's finally about to happen. So let's take a quick walk around, quick look at this thing. Obviously, so much different from everything Harley has done in the past. We've got the 1250 liquid cooled engine here, 6-speed transmission. Obviously, you've got the shotgun exhaust right here. Of course, we've got the TFT display here that we'll take a look at when we get on there. I'm excited to see how that's going to work out. We've got the rider modes and everything, and overall, pretty beefy, muscly looking bike right here. In my opinion, I would say this kind of fits into like a muscle cruiser type of bike. So of course, we got the big fat beefy tires up front. We've got the inverted forks, beefy tire in the back. That's one of the things that I'll be curious to see how it works out with these big beefy tires. We got the forward controls. I would prefer mid, obviously, but we'll see how the forwards go as well. Hey, there's Dan right there. Also, much different setup with all these buttons and controls up here. I don't even know what half of this stuff is going to do. I don't think I'll get too much into those. Maybe mess around with the ride modes. Of course, that's controlled right there, but we'll see how it goes. Alrighty, so we are geared up, gloves on, helmet on, ready to go. Let's hop on this thing, get some first impressions here. Alrighty, so first thing hopping on here, does feel pretty balanced, low enough to the ground. I'm 5'5", I am flat foot in this thing. Reach to the bars feels pretty decent. If you feel a little bit over the tank so far. And then to start her up, obviously a much different starting process here than we're used to with the Harley. We got the screen starting to light up here and turning on. All right, looks good. Alrighty, we're ready to go. All right, so just pulling out, clutch starts to engage really quick. I think you can adjust that a little bit. But yeah, the clutch definitely starts to engage pretty quickly, which is good. One thing I always have to get used to now is this different style of turn signal. Push it in to stop it, push it whichever direction you're turning. That always takes a little bit to get used to. Alright, so one of the things that I know a lot of people complained about on this bike right away was the suspension, so we're going to put that to the test. The rear suspension to the test right now on this tore up bumpy road. Obviously, as you can see, they are tarring and chipping, redoing this road, so we're going to put this suspension to the test. And yeah, that rear suspension so far, I'm definitely kind of clunking in the rear. It's definitely giving you some jolts. So I definitely agree with what people have said. Here goes some more bumps. Oh, yeah. Definitely a little stiff there, but... So I also got to get used to these bar end mirrors here. Obviously, I'm used to my mirrors being kind of like up in the middle, giving me a good look over my shoulder. These are down a little bit lower. Still doing their job though. So the shifting is also something to get a little bit used to. It feels a little mushy, if I'm being honest. I'm not really sure if I get that click. I'm so used to the positive click, you know, obviously on the Evo Sportsters air-cooled Milwaukee 8s give you a nice little click there. We got up into fourth here, and it doesn't really give you that confidence that it's there. You just kind of are assuming. You also got to kind of point your toe up a little bit with the shifter, and the way that it's positioned down there, you really kind of got to flex and point your toe. Not too much of an issue just yet. Possibly, maybe later on down the road, we'll see how it goes. But as far as kind of the smoothness of the shifting and the engine so far, definitely smooth. I definitely feel myself having to kind of squeeze that tank a little bit with the legs to make sure I'm kind of hanging on every time you give the throttle a little blip right there. All right, so now this is where I'm going to be curious to get a little bit of feel of these bigger tires. I do feel myself having to put a little bit more effort into the turns, but not a whole lot. I think it's just something that you kind of get used to. Really kind of give it a little bit more push and lean with these fatter front tires. But it's still a pretty comfortable turn. One thing I will say, it's nowhere near as aggressively as you have to turn like the FXDR, for example. We got a pretty short rake up here, which feels pretty nice and compact and comfortable. I remember when I took the FXDR out on here, the combination of that rake and that fatter front tire really kind of made that thing a little difficult to turn. But yeah, I do enjoy the engine so far. So you got a pretty good, clean, crisp power delivery. I haven't ratcheted it up too much just yet. We've been floating around kind of the 4,000, 5,000 RPMs. Of course, always want to be respectful of another dealer's bike that I do not own. Yeah, you can definitely pull through these gears a lot longer, obviously, on this higher revving bike, which I am totally not used to. I mean, we're up over about $4 right now. If I'm on my Iron 1200, that thing is usually about to like scream at me and feels like it's gonna blow up right when you hit about 4,000 and start climbing it. Now we are in a shaded area, so the screen is coming through pretty clear. I don't know if we get any sun on that. It's gonna make a little bit of a difference, but so far this screen looks pretty good. I like the readout of the digital speedo. Also like the readout of the RPMs as well. All right, so now that I'm getting used to it, I am getting a little bit more of that click, so I might have to retract my previous statement. Shifting is starting to feel a little bit better as we go. Man, this, I gotta be honest, this is really fun on these turns back here. The more you get used to kind of the tires and the way that you kind of have to turn this thing, this feels really good. I have a lot of confidence in the engine braking as well. The front brake does have a really good grab from what I'm seeing so far, and at least from what I'm feeling. Yeah, a little slowdown right there into the turn. Had a good, really good bite with that front tire, with that front brake. So we are still in road mode and pretty impressed with the power, at least so far, even just in road mode. I want to come to a full stop here. All right, so we'll open it up a little bit here. I want to push the RPMs a little bit more on this straightaway. Oh yeah, wow. So I was talking with a guy at the dealership when he saw me pulling this out, and he said, watch what happens when you get up around 4,000, 5,000 RPMs. It's gonna turn into a totally different bike. And from that pull right there, again, I want to take it easy on this. This is just a dealership bike, obviously. That definitely aligned with what he was saying. When you hit 4,000, 5,000, keep climbing, that power really turns on. And again, this is only in road mode right now. Very good, smooth delivery of power. Like I said, that just keeps kind of turning on, go up to 4, 5, 6,000. That felt really good right there. Yeah, wow, it'll just keep going. Man, I would like to be out somewhere with some straightaways to really hit that power and turn that on, see how it goes. Yeah, wow, you really got to hold on to this thing. Again, I'm not even getting on it that aggressively, but you do really have to grip this tank a little bit to make sure you're in a comfortable position. This definitely has the power. Obviously a very different experience from the air-cooled engines. I think as this engine continues to grow and Harley continues to work with this, I think this is really going to be a great platform and a great engine for Harley Davidson. So I know one thing a lot of people were complaining about with the Sportster S is people were saying it should have had a dual disc brake up front, but I mean, I really think that this front brake is sufficient for the way most people are going to be riding this bike. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be ripping this thing around out there like they're on a track day or something. I really do think that the single disc is fine. So ergonomics on the bike, you are a little folded forward. Obviously we have the forward controls on this. I mean, I wouldn't say these are super forward. I've got a decent bend in my legs still, but they are definitely forward. This bike would be a lot more fun with mid controls, 100%, no doubt about that. But it is what it is. We've got these slightly forward mid controls, which surprisingly for me has been fine so far. Like I said, I am about 5'6", so I tend to shy away from bikes with mid controls, but this really has not been bad so far. But again, like I said, definitely gonna have a lot more fun if you had mid controls on this thing. And now we're gonna put this thing in sport mode. Alright, so we just went from road mode to sport mode, and we're gonna take it easy. Okay. Whoa! Yeah, okay. I see what people are talking about now. I was skeptical about how much difference these modes really make on the performance of the engine. But I literally, like you saw, I just went from road mode to sport mode, and the immediacy of the power is just instant. I mean, the immediacy of the power is just so quick. I was giving it about the same throttle, and the output was just so much more. Like I said, I really had to kind of squeeze the tank with my legs. Wow. Okay, okay, sport mode, I see you. Sport mode, I see you. I like you. Right there, that little crack. Oh, you can definitely see how you might pull up a front end on this thing in like second or third gear. But just that little crack, that's the difference there of where that power in sport mode is making a huge difference, at least from what I can tell. Yeah, you definitely got to hang on to this thing in sport mode. That is for sure. Alright, so once again, I'm not 100% sure where we are. I always get lost on these roads. Okay, we are at 202 South. So, I think that gives me my cue to probably wrap this one up, get back to Brandywine Harley Davidson, give this thing back to them. But really good first impressions on this. Now the seat, I will say, the saddle is very small, very thin, not super comfortable or cushy. I mean, this is definitely not an all-day bike, from my opinion. With the legs down, you do get some heat from the exhaust. You can see they tried to shield that shotgun exhaust up pretty well, but you are taking some heat here depending on where your leg is. Alrighty, so like I said, we're gonna head back in the direction of Brandywine Harley Davidson. We're gonna drop this thing off and give our final thoughts on the Harley Davidson Sportster S. Alrighty folks, so there we have it. That was my first experience with the new Revolution Max engine. My first experience on this lovely machine right here, the Harley Sportster S. So yeah, I don't know, I was pretty impressed. A little bit of mixed feelings about it because it's not necessarily a bike for me. For example, I think maybe this would have to be like a second or third bike possibly. It's just not really going to do the types of things I want to do specifically for some traveling and some long distance type stuff. But as far as the performance and functionality of this machine, I think it does exactly what Harley intended it to do. I mean, we're talking 115 horsepower, 94 foot-pounds of torque, a big, muscly cruiser, basically. But it's also kind of lightweight and compact as well. I was very kind of impressed how it handled with how compact it was, even with these large rear tires here. But yeah, super impressed by that engine. Super powerful, super smooth. Sport mode is like a whole nother world, basically. You get up to 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 RPMs. It's like a totally different world. It would take some getting used to coming from an air-cooled Sportster to this right here. I'm excited to see what this engine is gonna do on the Nightster as well that was just released. So yeah, one last look at the Harley Sportster S here. Obviously this is the Vivid Black. This bike is for sale here at Brandywine Harley Davidson. I will be sure, of course, to link all their information down in the comments. You can hit them up, hit up my guy Dan Novak. They'd be glad to help you out with any interest in this bike or any other bike they have in their dealership. So of course, that's gonna wrap this one up for now. If you're out there riding this bike and have ridden this bike, make sure you let me know down in the comments your thoughts, your experience. You like it, you don't like it, what features you like, what features you don't like. And of course, make sure you ride safe out there. Make it a good one, guys. It's the Moto John. We'll see y'all on down the road. Peace.